If I told you that one of cinema's greatest plot twists was hiding in plain sight for 2 hours, and you probably missed it on your first watch. Today, we're diving deep into Bryan Singer's masterpiece, The Usual Suspects, a film that redefined what it means to be an unreliable narrator. Let's start with that haunting opening sequence. We see a mysterious figure lighting a cigarette, the camera lingering on expensive shoes. And then, boom, a ship explosion that sets the entire story in motion. But here's what's brilliant about this opening. Singer is already playing with our perceptions. The low angles, the shadowy lighting, and the way we never see the killer's face are all deliberately designed to make us think we're watching the film's antagonist. Little do we know, we might be watching our protagonist. Now the iconic lineup scene to establishment. Each suspect gets their moment. Hockney's quiet menace. McManus with his cocky swagger. Fenster with his incomprehensible mumbling. And Keaton's reluctant authority. But watch verbal Kint here. Kevin Spacey plays him as the obvious weak link, the guy who doesn't belong. The real meat of the film happens in that cramped interrogation room. Agent Coogan, played with perfect bureaucratic arrogance by Chaz Palminteri, thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He's convinced Keaton is Keyser Söze, and he's going to break this crippled conman to prove it. But watch how Spacey modulates his performance here. He's nervous, sure, but there's something else. A calculation behind those stammers and twitches. Then we get to the legend of Keyser Söze. Verbal spins this mythical tale about a Turkish crime lord who killed his own family to send a message. But here's the thing. Every detail Verbal gives us about Söze, the ruthlessness, the intelligence, the ability to disappear, could just as easily describe the man sitting across from Kujan. The film's heist sequences showcase each character's expertise while slowly revealing the puppet strings. McManus is the loose cannon, Hockney the demolitions expert, and Keaton the reluctant leader trying to go straight. But notice how Verbal is always there, always watching, always seeming to know just a little more than he should. When things go wrong, he's the one who suggests. The hospital scene with the burn victim is where the film's structure becomes most apparent. We're cutting between Verbal's story and the testimony of the only other survivor. But Singer is careful never to let us see both perspectives of the same moment clearly. The burn victim's testimony contradicts Verbal's story. But we're so invested in Kevin Spacey's performance that we assume the traumatized man must be confused or lying. As we approach the climax, Verbal reveals the truth about the ship job. It wasn't about money. It was about eliminating the one man who could identify Keyser Söze. This is where the film's themes crystallize. The power of story, the nature of fear, and how easily we accept the version of events that fits our preconceptions. Kujan buys into the story because it confirms what he already believed about Keaton. And then comes one of cinema's greatest reveals. As Verbal walks away and Kujan pieces together the truth from the bulletin board behind him, we realize we've been played for nearly 2 hours. Every detail of Verbal's story was improvised from objects in that room. Kobayashi from a coffee cup, Redfoot from a magazine, even Kaiser Soze from the bottom of a mug. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled wasn't convincing the world he didn't exist. It was convincing us he was someone else entirely. That final shot of Verbal's transformation is pure cinematic magic. Watch how Spacey gradually straightens his posture, loses the limp, and lights a cigarette with steady hands. The same hands we saw in the opening scene. Singer films this reveal with the patience it deserves, letting us process the full scope of what we've just witnessed. The mild-mannered storyteller was the monster all along.
What makes The Usual Suspects more than just a clever twist movie is how it explores the power of narrative itself. Verbal Kint understands that people believe what they want to believe, what fits their worldview. Kujan wanted to catch the big fish, so he bought the story that painted him as the hero, exposing corruption. We wanted to root for the underdog, so we bought the story that made the disabled man the victim rather than the victor. Technically, this film is a masterpiece of misdirection. Cinematographer Newton Thomas Siegel uses lighting and framing to constantly shift our sympathies. The editing by John Ottman creates a rhythm that keeps us engaged without giving away the game. And that score, Ottman pulling double duty, perfectly captures the film's noir atmosphere while building to that explosive finale. The Usual Suspects works because it respects its audience enough to play fair, while still completely fooling us. Every clue is there for those paying attention. But singer and screenwriter Christopher McQuarrie are such skilled magicians that they keep our eyes focused exactly where they want them. It's a film that gets better with each viewing, as you notice all the moments where Verbal almost breaks character. All the times the truth was hiding behind that stammering facade. 28 years later, The Usual Suspects remains the gold standard for twist endings, because it earns its revelation through character, story, and theme, not just through withholding information. It's a reminder that the best mysteries aren't about what we don't know, but about what we think we know that turns out to be wrong.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.